that time. It's time now for my Big 12 weekly rankings and matchups. Each week I rank the Big 12 teams from worst to first, and then I also highlight the matchups in the Big 12, which in this case we'll do for the week of November 21st. Let's begin at number 12 with the Hall of Famers for Big 12 cellar dwellers. That's the Baylor Bears, who not only got killed against Texas, we knew that was going to happen, it didn't even look like Baylor even tried, okay? It's one thing to lose and maybe lose big, but it's another thing to not even show up and try. It was 40-0 at halftime. Texas, we know, is a fantastic team. I'm not denying that. But it didn't even look like Baylor even cared. And then, just like I predicted, there would be just as many Texas fans in the stands as there would be Baylor fans. Boy, was that the case in Waco this past week. At number 11, Colorado, the nightmare season continues for Dan Hawkins, who might only have 2 games left as head coach for Colorado. We'll have to find out how that story will end here in a few weeks. But Colorado loses at Iowa State. They're not going to a bowl game, and they could very well get embarrassed this Thursday night at Oklahoma State. That game, by the way, on national television. At number 10, the Kansas Jayhawks, now losers of 5 in a row after starting 4-0 and getting to the top 20. Kansas in a dogfight right now just to try to get to bowl eligibility. Even worse news for Kansas, as if losing to Nebraska wasn't bad enough, they now have to travel to Austin, Texas to play a nationally televised game in prime time. Just keeps getting better for Mark Mangino and company, doesn't it? At number 9, good days right now for the Iowa State Cyclones. They win their 6th game of the season as they knock off Colorado. Paul Rhodes, whether this team goes to a bowl game or not, he has my vote for Coach of the Year in the Big 12 after what he's done with that program. Iowa State is a bowl eligibility. We don't know if they're going to go to a bowl yet, because if the Big 12 gets more than 8 teams bowl eligible, somebody from the Big 12 could be left out, and it could be Iowa State. But we'll have to wait and see how the Big 12 regular season finishes. But regardless, Iowa State, what an improvement from Ames. At number 8, Texas A&M, an embarrassing loss to the Oklahoma Sooners, 65-10. They give up 9 touchdowns. They give up touchdowns in so many ways. They gave up one fumbling the ball. They gave up touchdowns receiving, rushing, and A&M had 4 turnovers. A long night for the Wrecking Crew. They still need one more win to get to bowl eligibility, but they would just assume that the Oklahoma game never took place. At number 7, Kansas State, an opportunity to keep pace with Nebraska in the Big 12 North record-wise, but they blew it by getting trounced at home against Missouri. The Tigers showed Kansas State up, and the Wildcats need to bounce back because even though they have 6 victories overall, they can only count 5 of those wins, since 2 of those wins were against Division I AA competition. So Kansas State still needs a win to get to bowl eligibility, and they only have one more chance to do that. We'll talk about that in a second. At number 6, the Missouri Tigers, and you might be saying, how can I vault Missouri from 12 to number 6 in 1 week, just like that? Well, simply put, we put Missouri at 12 the week before because they lost to Baylor. When you lose to Baylor, that should be automatic grounds for being number 12, because you should never, ever lose to Baylor, especially this year. So, Missouri got their 1 week of probation for being number 12, and I vaulted them because they did come back. They played a brilliant game on the road in Manhattan in trouncing the Wildcats. Good game by Blaine Gabbert, the Missouri quarterback. And by the way, Missouri is officially bowl eligible. At number 5, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, whose offense had a woeful evening in Stillwater. Only 17 points, their lowest input of the season, both points-wise and yardage-wise. They get Oklahoma coming up, but they won't beat the Sooners with another performance like they just had in Stillwater this past week. At number 4, the Oklahoma Sooners. Yes, they're not going to the Big 12 championship game. They're not going to a BCS bowl. They are not going to finish the year ranked in the top 10 in anybody's poll. But they did play with a lot of pride, resiliency. They bounced back from the heartbreak in Lincoln to pulverize the Aggies. Lopsided game. Good job by the Oklahoma offense and defense. And now they do have confidence entering that game in Lubbock against Texas Tech this week. At number 3, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who continue to get better. A brilliant 4th quarter, and in my opinion, it looked like Nebraska was simply wearing down Kansas. A huge 4th quarter for the Huskers. 2nd time this year on the road in which they've had a big 4th quarter to win. Missouri was the other game. So Nebraska now a victory away from winning the Big 12 Championship Northern Division. At number 2, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who win with defense. Bill Young's defense played brilliant. They were able to get a Patrick Levine interception return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter at a pivotal time in that game. It was the Oklahoma State defense, not the offense, that was the headliners in that victory over Texas Tech. Speaking of the offense, Zach Robinson, though, injured very late in that game, concussion. Don't know his status for the Thursday night game against Colorado. And at number 1, the Texas Longhorns, who had every reason in the world to not really play a good game against Baylor because, again, you're playing Baylor. You got the Big 12 South wrapped up. Texas still played a pretty good game anyway. They were able to get enough motivation to win what really was not a road game because, again, it might have been a neutral site game. Half of the stands were orange. Okay, the other half, Baylor green. Texas took care of business. They put the game away early, and the Longhorns now need one more win to officially clinch the South Division. And that's where we're going to start with our matchups for the week of November 21st. A primetime game, Texas hosting Kansas. And I'm trying to look at this game from every single angle, trying to figure out if Kansas has any chance at all at winning this game. I did come up with one angle. If Texas comes down with the flu, that's your only way, Kansas, of winning in Austin. It'll be Saturday night game on ABC, and it will be ugly. Texas to win big, and then Kansas with another loss. They will have to beat Missouri to go to a bowl game. Otherwise, Mangino will not go to a bowl game. Texas, again, will win big. Another matchup I'm looking at in the Big 12 this week, Oklahoma at Texas Tech. For my analysis and prediction of this game, make sure to check out the weekly matchup show, which is also on this very page. Iowa State at Missouri in a fat game. Yeah, can't get excited to watch this one. It is in the Show Me State, Missouri. I like what they showed me against Kansas State this past week. I think they will win the game. For Iowa State, they're at bowl eligibility, but sure wouldn't hurt them to pull off the upset in Columbia, but I don't see it happening. Iowa State, other than the win against Nebraska, they have not been a good road team all season long. Baylor at Texas A&M, and something's got to give in this one. Both Baylor and A&M blown out in their games this past week. A&M, though, is at home. One more win is needed for the Aggies to get to bowl eligibility. If Texas A&M doesn't win this week, they're not going to a bowl game because there's no way in heck that they're going to beat Texas Thanksgiving night to get to that 6th win. So A&M's got to get that 6th win now. I think they'll do that against the Baylor team that, to me, looks like they've just completely given up. Colorado at Oklahoma State. This is a Thursday night game, by the way. It's Thursday night because Oklahoma State wanted to get the additional television exposure. The game will be nationally televised on ESPN, and Colorado would just assume that nobody who watches this game, people will watch. And whether Zach Robinson plays in this game or not, which we still don't know and probably won't know until game day, it won't matter because Colorado just does not have the talent. Doesn't have the fortitude to play the brand of football that will be needed to win in Stillwater. I like Oklahoma State to win and win comfortably before OSU's next big challenge, which will be the Bedlam game on November 28th in Norman. And now we get to our Big 12 Game of the Week. It is for the Big 12 North Championship. Which team will get clobbered by Texas in the Big 12 Championship game? That will be decided this Saturday in Lincoln, Kansas State at Nebraska. And believe it or not, Kansas State still has a chance to win the North. And this right here is the world of spectrums, okay? On one side, if Kansas State wins in Lincoln, they will have a 5-3 conference record, which will be good enough to win the North Division and get them to bowl eligibility. If they lose, then they will drop to 6-6 overall. And remember, since 2 of those wins were against Division I AA competition, they can only use one of those wins toward their bowl eligibility status. If they lose in Lincoln, they'll still be 1 victory short and won't go to a bowl game, period. So you win, you play in the Big 12 Championship, you lose, you don't go to a bowl game at all. Nebraska, I believe, wins this game. I think Missouri exploded a lot in Kansas State in that game in particular on defense. Nebraska at home, I'm not going to pick against them in this one. They take care of Kansas State. So there you have it. There are my weekly matchups as well as rankings for November 21st. We'll do it all over again, and the next time we'll be on, it'll be during Turkey Week. So long for now.